What's up, Box Cutters players? IC and Driver 3 Joe here with an interview with Jonathan Thwaites of OMM Games, where they are designing and coding the RPG and quest system for Box Cutters. I'll link their website in the description below so you guys can check them out and see what they're all about. But today we're going to be talking and asking about some questions about the upcoming RPG system in Box Cutters. So, thank you for taking a little time today to discuss this with us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
How do you pronounce the game company? So we have a proper name here. Is it OOMM? Is it OOMM?
It's OOMM.
Okay,
Games.
Okay.
Games. Okay, so my first question, I'll start off here. Before we get into, I'm going to ask the company and all that, but before we get into any of that, let's talk about you a little bit here. Where did you start in the gaming industry, and not just the industry, but in making games itself and creating them and designing them? When did that first come to you?
For me, it was actually always a bit of a hobby since I was a kid. I would design silly little games, and they were absolutely ridiculous kid games. But as time continued and I became a teenager, got into high school, I actually started trying to write my own RPG. Tried to start writing my own basic role-playing systems and games to go with it.
Okay, well that's great. So RPG, is that your main interest? Is that what you enjoy doing the most?
It's actually in many ways more of a hobby still. RPG systems are very, very in depth, and they require a whole lot more writing than just the actual physical rule designs and component designs that are so key to board games. So as much as I love making RPGs and am still working on my own RPG system that I've been working on for over a decade at this point.
Wow.
The main focus that I work on is actually board games.
Okay. Is that something that's newer to you, or have you always been working with the board games, the physical?
Pretty much, once I got into high school and my first few years of college, university, I actually wasn't making any board games. But once I got out and started up the job that I had at the time, I found that I needed some sort of focus in my life to try and deal with the ever-present stresses that there were and just trying to get through a week of work in a very high-stress job.
For sure. I understand.
So what I actually started doing more as a serious time was doing board and card game design.
Okay, board and card game design. That makes sense.
So how and when did you meet Lance? Like, how long have you known him? When did you guys get started with OOMM Games?
Well, the funny thing is, several friends of mine actually worked for Lance at Club Penguin. And so these friends, we went to university together, and I started a programming course. And ironically enough, I'd switched out of the programming course into psychology. They continued on in programming and in various different things, and they got in with Club Penguin right when it was starting up.
Seems like a lot of people. Is that something that was like big deal out there? Because it seems like everyone that we've interviewed, their friends and their families.
They all know somebody who worked with Club Penguin.
Worked at Club Penguin, yeah.
It was actually a fairly big deal at the time. There was a lot of people that were starting to work for Club Penguin. It seemed everyone did know one. The funny thing is, it almost had a reputation as being hard to get a job at, though.
Right.
Because of just a whole bunch of other factors that were going on that made it seem like it was more difficult than it really was.
Okay. Makes sense.
For instance, the common misconception that most people had that I knew who were interested in working for Club Penguin but didn't think they'd be able to get a job there was the fact that to have the best chance of getting a job at Club Penguin, you had to go to a specific church.
Oh, okay.
And it was just the irony of the whole situation was that that just happened to be where several people that we knew went to church. They talked to other people they knew who had the skill sets that Lance was currently looking for. And so a lot of people that were at that church started getting hired just because they knew the initial set of people that Lance had hired.
Yeah, I mean,
Church became a location for job interviews.
yeah. um, let's go before we get into. Well, actually, you know what? We can start with how did Games come up because I do want to talk about No Escape and Last One Standing at some point as well. So where did you met Lance clearly one day, maybe at church or something, and Games. I mean, what year was this started, and what is your position in the company, and is it just you and Lance? I know you do all the board game work, so let's just talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so how Lance and I actually got to meet is a little bit of a story of its own.
We
Um,
got time.
after years of working at a very high stress job and making games as a hobby and as a stress relief, I actually had several game designs that were I felt ready to be published,
Okay.
and so I started pitching them to various different publishers, and I actually got hired at one.
Oh.
And so I was working for this other publisher, making things like Vikings Raid and Conquer, the deck building game,
Yep.
based on the Vikings license. Working on Trailer Park Boys games, different things like that. And honestly, not really enjoying it because it's not the kind of culture that I'm really comfortable with.
Right.
Part of.
Right. Absolutely.
And at the same time, Lance, it turned out, was looking for information from people in the board game industry, specifically about Kickstarters. So he actually arranged to set up a meeting with my bosses at the time and to discuss all of the experiences that we had with Kickstarter. I was already in the process at this point of developing an exit strategy from this because I was not happy there.
Okay. Right. Right.
So after this sit down with Lance, I'm like, well, I know all these people that have worked for Lance for years. Maybe I should just start talking to them and asking what he's like as a boss.
Yeah, for sure.
So I actually called up about 4 different friends that I had that worked for Lance at this point in time,
Wow.
and just asked him what he's like as a person to work for, what he's like to new business proposals, things like that. Got a really favorable impression from them. So I put in my notice at my former job and put together a business proposal for Lance for us to start up a board game yourselves.
Wow. That's crazy. What year was that? Was that 2017?
That was 2017, yes.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. So what was the first project that you guys developed?
So there were several different things on the go. Lance doesn't just jump into things without knowing what's going on and giving people a bit of a test.
Right.
So he gave me a crazy couple project ideas that he had rolling around in his head, and wanted to see if they could be turned into card games. As well, the game that I had ready for publishing, he took on for OOMM Games for us to be the first game that OOMM published.
Okay. Okay. Huh. See, I don't know. I knew he was into the board game stuff, but I never knew the possibility of what can actually be done with a board game, and that's your expertise, and it's
Yeah,
fascinating. Like I've been looking into Last One Standing and No Escape, and your new one coming out, and it's just to be able to you know put that stuff together and have that mindset. It's incredible, man. You have an amazing talent. It's unbelievable.
Definitely.
thanks. Although I can't really take the credit for Last One Standing. That one is actually developed by another local developer here.
Okay. Okay.
That
No problem.
we took on the game after he completed his Kickstarter.
Brendan, I see here.
Yeah, that was Brendan.
Okay.
So he
Oh,
completed his Kickstarter and it was successful. But then he realized really how much is involved in the industry as a
yeah.
whole, which is a lot.
Oh, I can imagine. I
Yeah,
see. Yeah, I can.
and we figured it would be a perfect addition to start growing our library with right away.
Okay. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, you got to start with something good.
Hmm.
Seems good.
Yeah,
Um.
Brendan is a good designer. He did a really good job, yeah, especially considering Last One Standing was really his first design. So
Hmm.
Was it really? Okay. Go ahead, Joe. You can.
Well,
I know you're
let's
antsy here to ask.
yeah, let's go into box critters now.
No, wait,
okay,
wait,
Box
wait,
Critter.
wait, wait.
What?
One
Oh,
more.
oh, oh,
I want to know a little more about No Escape here. We got to talk. This is the guy behind these amazing things, and I want to. We're talking to the man himself here. I want to
oh.
know, like, where did the inspiration come from for No Escape? Have you had that idea for? I mean, I know Lance. Some of his ideas are from 1999, and they just come out of nowhere. They come now. How long has this game been? How long did it take to create it, to think about it, and just boom?
Um, for No Escape, actually, the initial idea and concept for it came about in 2013.
Okay.
Pretty much the whole initial idea. I was playing with my wife a game called Houdini. It's a
Okay.
very very old tile laying game where it's two players only, and one player is maze tiles, and the
Okay.
other player is trying to make it out of the maze before all the maze tiles are placed. And you
Oh,
go back and forth doing this, and the player who's laying maze tiles gets a score based on how many tiles they get out. And you
okay.
go back and forth a certain number of rounds, and at the end of rounds, the player has a higher score wins.
Okay. No, that's great. That's a great idea.
So, so it was a very simple idea, very very quick and easy to play. Um, but I was looking at it one day, and this would be really cool if I could play it with four people.
Ah,
And then I'm like, well, if I can play it with four people, why don't I just design it so it can play with even more people?
7, 8.
Um,
Yeah.
so I started looking at the design element, that they put into this, and looking at what I liked about what they did originally and what I really felt needed to be changed to make it a multiplayer game. And as that basis, I actually took it in a completely different direction, using in the end pretty much none of the original mechanics that this Houdini game uses, and creating a unique escape game based on tiling.
Perfect. I mean, it all flows together. It's a great idea. I'm actually going to be buying it. I haven't played board games in a long time. I'm going to buy that one this weekend. Check it out whenever it comes in.
Excellent.
No,
I
for
hope you'll
sure.
enjoy it.
Oh, I will. Believe me, I enjoy that stuff. So I know Joe wants to get into box critters. We can do that, and at some point into that discussion, I want to talk about the hamsters in Infinite Space, your upcoming game. So, go ahead, Joe. Take it over.
Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Let's
this
do
will,
this.
yeah. So first of all, Rocket Snail said we've noticed how the board game Hamsters in Infinite Space has been connected right now for the first looks like the first story is gonna be related to space. Um,
Quest, all that.
what
Yeah.
can we really expect from that? Like a little bit of detail.
So this one is very much a very test of the system that we want to develop. It introduces the decision matrix that people will have at later points in the game, and that is going to be key to the entire questing system. But it does it in a much fashion than later renditions are going to be. So this is very, very much an early test to make sure that that the game system itself will work
Right, right.
within this particular kind of setting.
Okay. I know we've seen in some of the coding, and this may just be something he added early on to have it. We've noticed armor, HP system, gold, uh, striking, stuff like that. Is that something that you plan on incorporating into the game?
That is actually something that you'll be seeing incorporated in very soon here.
Very soon. Okay, interesting. Well, I know a lot of see. If you were to describe this game to somebody, so as you know, obviously everybody knows Rocket Snail, the creator of Club Penguin. The majority of his community are previous Club Penguin players, and they expect a similar experience with this game. And in my personal opinion, I feel and this is a good thing. I enjoy it. I feel the game's pushing away from the virtual world aspect a little bit and pushing more into RPG. Can you describe to the players exactly what they can look forward to in this game?
Well, for the questing system, and keeping in mind that the questing system itself is actually only one of multiple games that we're working on for the entire box critters system. The questing system itself is designed to be a very light RPG system. So when we say RPG, this is not a extremely heavy in-depth system where you're going to need to remember a whole bunch of stats, where you're going to need to be constantly optimizing the character. That's not what this one is designed for. This is very much a light RPG system, trying to keep the humor, trying to keep the appeal to a larger audience and to the Club Penguin audience while taking it in a new direction.
Perfect explanation.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense because because a lot of people don't want to be forced to do quests and be forced to do all these things. That's actually a pretty good answer because we were wondering how heavy of RPG is this game going to be and how much of it is it really going to take away the whole virtual world aspect that a majority of the fan base is used to.
Yeah. And there's definitely going to be different items and things that you're only going to receive by doing the questing.
okay, so you
Right.
have to grind that out.
Yeah, so it's going to be that to specific items, if you want to have them, you will need to do the questing system. How
Okay.
the questing system itself is designed to be very light and easy to do. And incorporating both elements of physical game design and digital game design, really trying to match the two elements together. Obviously, myself being more knowledgeable on the physical game side of things, and Rocket Snail Lance being very, very knowledgeable on the digital side of things, and really together into a simple system that is at the same time very appealing to use.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything that you specifically want to see happen or do that would make this RPG a little different than others? And I know it's not like RPG heavy, but is there something unique that you have planned? And on top of that, with all the shields and the health and the striking and defense, is there a battle type system that's being incorporated into this game?
There is a battle type system that's incorporated into the game. Um, and essentially, for how we're introducing it for now, and of course, this may change in the future, but how we're incorporating it for now is that certain quests are going to be combat oriented quests.
Oh,
Combat oriented. I like that.
okay. Okay. In a lot of role playing games, MMOs, you see a lot of PvE, um, interactive stuff in the world. Is that something that's going to be incorporated?
So at this point, PvE is where we're focusing on.
Beautiful.
Um, we are looking at in the future maybe doing PvP, but that is not even something we're attempting to look at right now. It's not even remotely close to any of our goals on the horizon at this point, and honestly, we don't even know if.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, yeah. Um, it's- I know there's a currency coming and other stuff like that. Um, how much like is the game itself um kind is hamsters and infinite space and box critters tied in together?
That's actually kind of funny. Hamsters in infinite space. The design concepts for it and the art came before it started getting integrated into box critters.
Right, right.
Um, and the actual game design for Hamsters in Infinite Space is very different than the questing system that's being designed for box.
Okay.
That being said, a lot of the art assets that we've collected for Hamsters in Infinite Space are actually going to be used in all of the tests uh, and everything for the questing in Box Critters.
Okay.
So you're going to actually get a preview of art for a game that's still in development, and that might or might not be in later renditions of Box Critters.
All right. I know you're big on RPGs and stuff like that. I'm sure you're familiar with Elder Scrolls and Conan Exiles and Ark and that type of. Can we? Are we gonna see something where me and Joe meet up on a weekend and he has to go collect wood and I got to go collect
Mhm.
something to build a house or to complete a task or.
We have a few different ideas in mind. Uh,
Okay.
we're exploring them right now, but we're not definitely committing to any of them.
It's still early. I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still early, and the whole idea of getting together and going off to complete specific tasks as a group, that's definitely something that we are looking at exploring in the future with a different questing system that will integrate in this questing system.
Yeah, because
Wow.
Lance mentioned a while ago, and I have really seen him talk about it when he's like among our first interviews, how he said like, for new content and stuff, how there's going to be like a box every week or something, and everybody would have to work together and open that box, and it's whatever's in it, like a
Yeah,
party or whatever.
yeah. So that is actually still definitely something that we're working for.
Okay,
And we have multiple different concepts that we're working on how that would be implemented at this point.
cool.
Yeah, that's something I. And that's you know what? See, you're one of those guys that know this stuff. Is the biggest challenge with the quest simply? Have you seen Ready Player One?
Yes, I've seen
Okay.
Ready Player One.
Okay. So the theory is here in real life, after that movie dropped, it was hundreds of forums, hundreds of people. We're gonna make this possible, and the biggest question is simply, how do you continue to push out new content? How is there an algorithm? Is there something that's gonna make it easy for you guys to keep developing Quest? Is what I'm getting
Well,
at.
that's actually one of the biggest design challenges for the part of the design
Right.
is trying to make sure that that when there's a design done, and this is one of the biggest things that I'm working on for the questing right now, is before we even start putting up the teasers for the questing system, um, I was developing it sure that the way I was developing it was very conducive to quickly developing new content for it.
Right. Right.
Uh,
And
so Lance at the moment is doing the programming side, all of that as well. So the combination of the two, the system that I've developed and the code that Lance is writing to make it work, we're trying to mesh in such a way that we can very, very quickly add new content, new quests, things like that to the system uh, with a lot less time.
okay, because I mean I knew that would be, that's the hardest. Like I said with Ready Player One, people wanted to make that a possibility, and there's just the question of, okay, what happens when everything's explored? How do you keep it? And
Yeah,
that's something that's definitely, however you guys figure it out. That I understand the work and time that goes into that type of stuff, and it's just amazing.
yeah.
It's
And so while it may seem sometimes that the box critters world uh, isn't expanding very quickly, that's because in the background everything is being done to make sure that things can be done quickly at a later point.
That's a great answer for the players to know. Everyone's been curious about that one.
Yeah.
Before we go into your upcoming game, is there anything else, Joe, Box Critters related, that you would specifically would like to tell the users or no?
Yeah, I mean, so what can we like expect to see that will make this RPG different than other ones?
So, first off, this is a completely from the ground up designed RPG. It's not based on any currently existing system.
No. Nope.
Um, and so that was one of the big design challenges that I myself had for this system is that we're trying to make sure that first off, it's unique. Second off, it's simple, easy to pick up. That it needs next to no explanation for how to play the system.
Okay.
And third off, that it easily be done as a standalone card game all by itself later on.
And I know that's a big thing for him because we were talking previously. I mean, he asked me. He goes, "What was the most profitable game on Club Penguin?" And at first, I didn't know a correct answer, and he told me Card Jitsu. And that's when I realized, that people could go in the stores, buy packs of cards, and that whole aspect of going to Toys R Us or Walmart and buying something and physically having something physical, to interact with the game itself. That's a huge deal.
Yeah. And so that's one of the big things for the entire design. And the funny thing is when Lance and I started first working together, one of the very first challenges he gave me was that he wanted me to try and create a simple RPG card game. And I didn't even know where this would end up at that point.
Right.
And the funny thing is, what we have right now that we're trying to do the initial designs for in Box Critters is probably the 12th rendition of it that I've gone through it.
Wow. No kidding. Um, is there anything that I mean, I know you may have to speak the Lancers. Was there anything that you could give us to throw into this video to show the people? Anything OOMM Games related or Box Critters related? Something cool? Like image, art, anything? Sneak peek? Something?
Image, art, anything, sneak peek. Just a second, and I can.
No, there's no hurry, man. Yeah, you could send it whenever. We'll throw it in there. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I can. I can potentially find something for it.
You can't give you guys
Um,
something too big, but just a little
yeah,
something.
A little
yeah,
something.
not something too big. Not something too big. Um, I can. Yeah, I got a little something I can throw your way that
Okay.
that
Spice it up.
will definitely be a bit of a teaser, and I'll
Ooh.
explain absolutely nothing to the majority of you until you actually start playing.
Okay. No, that's perfect. I like
Yeah.
that. Um, what else you got for him, Joe Boxkers later? Because I am curious about his new game.
I think about a lot of my questions and a lot of other members of the
People's, yeah.
community's questions were pretty much answered. Um, so yeah, we just have to wait and see. We're gonna get a little sneak peek, and can't wait to see how this all comes together.
Me too. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk about your new game here, Hamsters in Infinite Space. I know you guys have seen it on Twitter, on the website. If you haven't, you can go to oomgames.com, OOMM games.com. Check it out. We're with Jonathan here. What is Hamsters in Infinite Space? Where did the idea come from? And what is like we don't know much about it. We don't know the layout of the game. Like, what can we expect? What are we? You know?
So, Hamsters in Infinite Space, the whole idea of the game is each of the players are hamsters on your hamster ship. And so you're together to try to complete the main quest that you're going
Okay.
on. And being that you're officers, you all have crew that work under you at the various different stations. And you're going through various different missions along your way, having many different encounters. It might be something like you have to go and negotiate a peace treaty with this, or you might have been ambushed and you have to fight off a spaceship.
Wow.
What happens is every time a new event will happen in the game, there'll be a bunch of random triggered events that will spawn affecting players.
Wow.
And
Okay.
each player will actually have dice, which will represent their crew.
Oh. Each individual player?
Each individual player will have
Wow.
dice,
Okay.
which will represent their crew.
That's something
And
new.
so they have to assign their crew to the various challenges of that mission, or to the main objective of that particular.
That sounds
And
insane.
so they have to decide whether or not, once dice have been assigned, if they're just going to be temporarily assigned there to try and hold off essentially whatever the bad effects of that particular thing are, or locking them in place, not getting them back for the next round, in an attempt to try and lower difficulties of it, work towards the end objective, things like that. So it's going to be a balancing effect between when you pull your dice back, when you can lock them in place, and different crew types, which is the different dice, will have different effects on different different events that are going on.
This sounds like a really in-depth strategy game. This is my thing right here. I like this. This is going to be
It's
interesting.
definitely more of an in-depth strategy game.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Wow.
and the whole idea is that you're going to succeed or fail together. So everyone is going to have to operate and try and figure out each round what the best use of their limited resources, which is the crew, their dice, that they have to try and complete the objective so that they can move on to the.
Dude, that's nuts, man. Just to be able to, for you to be able to come up with this and physically make it a game is just, it's unbelievable, man. Like, I can't, when can we expect this? Is this something next year?
We're hoping to be able to 2020.
Okay.
We actually have a lot of things on the go right now. To give you guys a little bit of a teaser. Obviously we have box critters that we're helping with some of the design aspects for the adventure system. We have battle bears that we're getting ready for right now.
I love Ben, man. Good dude.
It's a really fun game.
I had the opportunity to meet him last year. Can you hear him, Joe?
Hello?
Oh, there you go. I can hear you now.
Oh, there. Sorry.
You're good.
Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, we took Brendan McCastle's design for Last One Standing and modified the design very, very heavily.
Okay.
So in the end, it actually plays like a completely different game. And then that is Battle Bear as the basis of Last One Standing, but in a completely new direction.
That's amazing, and I have the experience of playing Battle Bears, and I can't wait. I know the Battle Bears 2 is in the process right now, and everyone's got a lot of stuff going on. So I mean, you seem like a pretty busy guy, man. Like, I would appreciate
we lot on the go. As I say, Battle Bears and Box Critters here is just the main things we're working on right now. But we actually have about 6 other active designs that we're working on at the moment as well.
Wow.
We're working with Brendan McCastle on another game that he's designing at this point. We are actually working with another well-known designer that we can't really announce yet on another design.
Understandable.
We have Hamsters in Infinite Space that we're working on. We have multiple expansions for our existing games that we're working on. We have a couple secret in development games that we're working on, as well as we're always working on trying to get some new licenses to work with.
Okay. As far as Hamsters in Infinite Space, how long do you expect the game to last? Is that something that's been thought of yet, or analyzed, or?
Each game session is going to be around an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay.
But it's going to come initially with multiple adventures that you can complete. And there's going to be expansions of even more adventures that you
Oh, now you're talking. Now you're talking. See that? I don't think do a lot of companies do that or no with physical games? Do they do expansions?
Some do, some don't. There's a lot of companies that focus on just putting out a single design element of the main game and then moving on from there.
No doubt. No doubt.
We are really trying hard to focus on that. Most, if not all, of our games will end up with expansions.
Okay. Okay. No, it's. I know everything's early. You know, we'll have to get another interview here in a year or something. See where everything's at. But no, like I said, we appreciate your time, man. Jonathan from OOMM Games here. This guy's working on some big things.
Yep.
For me, that would be. That's all I can really think of. Joe, is there anything that pops in your
Yeah,
head? What
there's
we have in
actually
here?
one thing I forgot to ask about. Um,
Okay.
so are you working on the mini games too?
So I have a little bit of input into the mini games,
Okay.
but I'm not doing the majority of design elements on the mini games. That being said, one of the mini games is actually going to be based off of one of OOMM Games' games.
Is that the battle royale?
I will not say which one.
Aha. Well, we do know that's one of them, but if you're saying it's based off one of your board games, then that could mean many things.
Yes, it could.
Mystery.
That's for us to figure out, guys.
Yep.
That's for you guys to figure out and me to not confirm yet.
She sounded like Lance now.
I know.
Well, I do work with him on a very regular basis. So.
Hey, I can tell.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, man. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He is
but
a
no-
great guy.
but we won't take your full day up here, man. We'll let you go enjoy your day. We appreciate your time, dude. Like I said,
Yeah.
whenever you get a second, throw me that sneak peek. We'll throw it in the video. We'll put your website link in the description if you guys want to check it out. It's oomgames.com.
Yep.
OOMM Games on Twitter, Discord, possibly I believe Instagram as well. All the goodies. So we appreciate your time, Jonathan. I still don't know how to say your last name correct, so I'll let Joe end with the exit here. And thank you, though, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. You guys have a good one.
Yeah,
You
you
too,
too.
man. I'll see you around.
Bye.
Alright, guys, so we did receive the sneak peek now. I'm gonna bring it up on the screen right here. Look at that. Skill, might, wit.
Insane,
Oh
guys.
my.
This is official. Like, this is what's gonna be in the game. This is how you're gonna build your critters up. Each critter, Lance already spoke about it. It's gonna have its own traits,
These are
attributes.
attribute, yeah.
Yes, and this is something that we're gonna have to build up. Each critter is gonna have its own. This is something we've been waiting for. This is huge news. Skill, might, wit. Now we have an idea of what we can look forward to. Might and wit. I know what skill is. I know what might is. Wit. It's cool about. We don't know how they're gonna incorporate it, and you can see it. We didn't get the full screenshot. He can't give us full details, but to the right there is some orange boxes with some text in it. So, there's a lot more coming. But yeah, guys, this is huge.
And this next photo we got pretty much shows all OOMM Games projects. As you can see, Box Critters is on here, and this is development stages.
Yep, you guys can see the progress of games. There's different colors of green. Something that caught mine and Joe's eye was look on this list here. Every single game is named correctly to what it is, and this may be nothing, but Box Critters is called Box Critters Adventure on here, and every other game has its proper name. So that could be a hint
My
towards something,
initial
guys.
thought was it was a placeholder name, but everything else is correct.
And it's something extra added, so it's there for a reason.
Definitely.
Hope you guys enjoy the video.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell for each and every upload so you don't miss anything.
We have a lot
Twitter.
of cool streams too. Coming.
Yes,
So,
lots of cool streams coming up.
items, don't miss them, guys. Make sure you subscribe. We got a couple items we'll be handing out shortly. So
Definitely. Twitter, Instagram links in the description. Discord server, we're almost at 3,000 members. And when we get to 3,000, like we just said, one of those will be the black headphones. We're going to give those out.
yes, make sure you join Discord Critters, the largest Box Critters community. We're 2,700 people strong and growing every day.
Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Peace.